Hi, it's been a while. It's been a while because we have basically been slaying the sort of dragons that nobody knew existed, or they did know existed, kept behind closed doors. In short, we wanted to build software that would allow anybody around the world with a basic computer and an internet connection to participate in the mining of the Gajumaru. The reason we wanted to do that was pretty simple and straightforward. Whilst a real blockchain or an actual blockchain that actually works, minting real money that really works, it has to start somewhere. You cannot simply click your heels together a la Dorothy and be in Kansas. You have to build it, it has to grow, it has to evolve to the point that you believe that now the core product is sufficiently well coded, structured, and
Usable.
usable, thank you, that it can provide that Groot, the core underpinning of the whole Gajumaru concept. So to get from where we were, we have an operating blockchain that's live, October 22nd, to where we intend to be. We have a fully operational base for creating a global economy for the people, by the people, delivering the original vision of blockchain. That's going to take a lot of time and development. In between those 2 points, you are mining this chain to keep it alive. As you mine it, you get rewarded in Gajus. The issue becomes a distribution question. What's the point of having Gajus if no one else does? There isn't. Now, if you're a Silicon Valley venture capitalist, obviously that's fine, because we'll just throw yet more money into doing a rug pull. But our position was we wanted to create a real currency that was really used, real money that was really used, not just really worked. So we set about this plan at the beginning of November to deliver software that anybody could install on any computer with the minimal intervention and participate in mining the Gajumaru, and hopefully bring hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, maybe even tens of millions of people into this before we complete the development of the chain itself. That was the plan. We knew it was a pretty big dragon to slay. We had no idea how big a dragon. We thought it was Puff the Magic Dragon. It turned out to be Smog. And with that, I will pass across to the poor guys who had the job of actually slaying those dragons.
Well, so yeah, we have a whole bunch of different conflicting criteria that we were trying to solve for. So this particular phased mining plan was our solution to it. And then we had to bring people in who didn't necessarily know much about blockchain. That's an audience issue that we have, which is the crypto bros aren't really our audience. It's small business owners are our primary adopters, and they're not crypto experts. They're experts at all kinds of other things, but not crypto. So our software has to be able to be useful to them, but then also be genuine. And there's some, there's a security versus usability trade-off, and we have to try to smooth that gap over as much as possible. That's required. We started off with, I won't get into details here, but I mean, we started off with architecture A, that fell apart. Then we got rug pulled by, like at launch, we got rug pulled by payment providers. That wound up having a cascading impact on our technology, our platforms that we'd chosen suddenly became inadequate. So it wasn't just set up a web shop, integrate with some payment providers, then you'll get this going, and then your back end where all the hardcore crypto stuff is working is going to happen. No, the blockchain stuff, that was okay. We already knew how to do that. We do this web shop part, we get rug pulled by payment providers. Now this is no longer inadequate at all. And the task becomes also just poop out our web shop, like with, no dependencies by last week, in addition to other stuff. So, which Dimitar is now dealing with some trailing pieces of that, while on the product side, I've been dealing with the user-facing pieces of that. And the saving grace has actually been the community that we attracted. Wound up being absolutely fantastically helpful, and some of the best people that we've dealt with are our early users, which thank goodness for that, because that could have gone way wrong, but it went very, very well for us. So we lucked out with that community. In the back end, Ulf has had lots of fun, just kind of with the task of, hey, we're going to do this hive mining concept. Hey, just poop out like a whole hive leading concept and make everything work with Dimitar writing contracts that tie it all together on the blockchain.
You don't simply walk into Mordor. It's a little bit like that, but it's gone well so far.
Yeah.
Despite all these weird peripheral problems that ended up being massive problems. So I think we can say that they have validated our core concepts. So we are even more convinced now that what we're building is sorely needed. But we know that we're not the only ones being rug pulled by payment operators. It's playing out around us. We have the famous debater Michael Knowles in the US, for example, who has taken his fight with Stripe public because apparently his monetization from his X platform is not working and they can't tell him why. And he's been discussing that with them for quite a while. Apparently, he was debanked, but it's very unclear why. We have
It's
the
never
gaming
clear why.
community. Yes, that's part of it. The gaming community is up at arms because Steam has now entered into their terms of service that games that fall out of favor with MasterCard or Visa, for example, are not allowed on the market. And it's also unclear. There is a policy for the payment operators that anything that damages their brand image is probably not okay. So that leaves quite a big uncertainty for, imagine, spending
interpretations.
years developing a game and then you're trying to launch it and suddenly you can't sell it. The market is closed because, well, maybe it was a little bit too spicy for whatever sensibilities.
Yeah, but all not illegal. And
Yes,
this is
right.
the thing is, and Craig says that very well in the longer form video, that the issue is that it's not about making things illegal, it's about making them impossible. And that really opposes completely to our belief that the individual should have the ability to make choices. They should be bound by those choices, they should be responsible for those choices, but they should have the capacity to make choices.
Even bad ones.
Even bad ones. For me, lifting the lid on just how archaic and lunatic asylum like the payments industry was absolutely validated everything we've ever said about what we're going to do with Gaju's, Gaju Pay, Gaju wallets, etc., because none of that stuff remains necessary. And arguably it isn't necessary, it's just convenient for the people who make all the money out of it. But I think the thing for me that's remarkable about this is the work you guys did. Not only were you slaying much bigger dragons than we thought that we would have to deal with, you were doing things for the first time, not just for you, but globally. The very first time that many of the things that you guys did were done were by you guys. There was no Reddit forum that you could go to say, hey, I have this problem, how do I solve it? The other part to this that I thought was an absolute blessing were the people who came in and bought into this pre-release. Over 300 of them came in and bought into this pre-release, and substantially. And they were the guinea pigs for all of the developments, all of the things that we pushed and delivered to the market. And actually, their feedback was extraordinarily valuable because it meant that we learned things now and we made changes now that means that this can really scale. And when we talk about getting to millions of people, it's not an aspirational statement without any substance. Ulf has been doing the work to make sure that the blockchain itself, the hive miners and so on, can actually handle this. Craig has been working on getting the products into people's hands, and Dimitar has been trying to juggle all of these pieces at the same time in every direction, whilst at the same time we've all got lives. Dimitar had a new baby arrive during this period.
He
He
did.
took
Yeah. Oh,
took no
man, yeah.
lessons from me on prioritizing time with the baby, although he probably handled it better than I did. There's been a lot of human challenges around this too, and I'm extraordinarily proud of these people, Craig, Dimitar, Ulf, and the background, Peter Santosh, Peter Hoppending, Jarvis, and then the community we have. Adam Percy, what an incredible gift he was. Arriving
Oh,
day
yeah.
one saying, look, I'm a house builder, you're going to have to simplify this, to becoming the best advocate we could possibly imagine to have within our community, who's proactively rolling up his sleeves, getting stuck in to help everybody who comes in the door. The energy and the vitality that we've had from the people who've come in, a lot of crypto projects talk about community. What they actually mean is we've assembled this group of idiots that we're going to do a bag drop on. And if you give us money, Mr. Venture Capitalist, we can build a bigger pool of idiots to do a bag drop on. No, this is a real community of people who believed in the vision of what we were trying to do, that we wanted to restore the economic sovereignty of humanity. We wanted to create what blockchain was always meant to be about, which was to create an open resource layer, an open economic resource layer that could be the basis for an economy for the people, by the people. They bought into that vision and they suffered. They paid money to suffer with us over the last 10 months as we got from concept to, yeah, we can start to sell this in March. And from March to date, they've hung in with us. They've given us the feedback we've needed, and they've remained positive. What a phenomenal group of people. So I have to say, from my position, looking at all of this, yes, we've been very quiet. We're a small team. We've had massive things to deal with. We've had rug pulls on payments, and we're getting there. By the end of August, everything will be working as intended. It'll be a very slick operation, just like we believed it could be when we started this in November of last year. And hopefully you all hear our call. This is an opportunity for everybody to reshape our economic firmament. This is what blockchain was supposed to be about in the first place, about delivering an actual blockchain that actually works, minting real money that really works, and getting millions of people to participate, not just in its establishment, but in its ongoing operation. And with that, thank you, everybody. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.